Welcome everybody to a special episode tonight of After the Match presented by HEB following the Kickoff Clash. I'm here alongside Jake, Junk, the coaches of the Houston Outlaws, and DPS player Pelican, which had a crazy play this past weekend and with a matchup against Toronto Defiant. We're here to talk about the Kickoff Clash going into Stage 2, as well as taking some Q&A from the fans here in the Discord. So first off, I want to start it out, guys. Coaches, from your perspective, how was the Kickoff Clash?
Kickoff Clash in general, I think I wish, I mean, obviously, we wish it would have went better. Unfortunately, we couldn't. I think hopefully we can do better next time.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's like I feel like we kind of hit like the minimum threshold for like our potential. Like this was about as like poorly as we forecasted doing, and we thought we could have done a lot better. I think yeah, I mean in the end, like looking forward, it's not too bad because the way we all get like 1 point for, so it's like basically we got the same as third place for the as far as like the future of the season goes. So the fact that we qualified to the tournament and we're at like a 4-2 score line means we're in like a good spot to make the midseason madness. We have like a good position for that. So in that sense, it's not too bad. But I think for like the tournament in a vacuum, we definitely we're hoping to do better.
We were confident going in, and yeah, but it just didn't work out the way we hoped it would.
Still good performance nonetheless. Going into question number two though, so Angie asked Pelican, how did you feel immediately after clutching out the map win on Colosseo on Hanzo? Relief, excitement, exhaustion? Tell us more what was going through your head during that massive play you made.
이거 콜로세오 한조 플레이 후에 느낌이 어땠는지, 머릿속에 무슨 생각이 지나가고 있었는지.
아, 일단 끝나고, 일단 안심이 제일 먼저 됐고, 이제 한 번 더 기회가 있다. 뭐 이런 생각?
First of all, he had a huge relief, thinking we have another chance.
Is there anything else he would like to add on to that, or just a massive relief? Because that was honestly a play that could be contention for play of the year, for play of what we see this season.
예, 이래서 또 느꼈던 점 있으신가요?
어떤 점? 딱히 없었는데? 안심, 안심 그거밖에 없었어요.
Yeah, just a feeling of assurance, relief. Yeah, that's about it.
It's awesome. So I know that you guys kind of touched on it a second ago, but outside the kickoff clash, what was the most important thing we learned as a team, really, from taking the adversity that we had, or not necessarily adversity, but just the result.
There's from every match we actually learn a lot every year from every match, and so hopefully the things we specifically learned we will probably can't go into details because it's a lot about how we'll be trying out different dynamics on how we prepare.
Yeah,
So
don't tell nobody our trade secrets here. You
yeah.
gotta be very cautious, close to chest.
Yeah, a
Um,
lot of times that is the things you learn though, right? Is like little strategic details that like we can implement. Um, yeah.
Makes sense. Well, going into stage two, discussing, Jake, you kind of touched on it earlier, where the placement getting a point, heading into mid-season madness. Stage one was entirely based upon the 4-2 scoreline in order to qualify, whereas the stage two it takes into account your first stage and your second stage to qualify for the mid-season madness in Hawaii. So what are we anticipating, going into this next stage, especially given the fact that they just released a new patch this past Monday, with all the implementations from the initial beta of the game.
I mean, there's a lot of like new stuff or big changes, so it'll take time to like experiment with and see what is actually the strongest. I think there's like a couple leads or like directions we could go, but you never really know what's going to end up being the strongest in the end until you sort of go through that process of trying new things and is there a counter, like here's a new strat that beats the old strat, but then there's a counter to that, and it just sort of keeps going until you've kind of gone through like many of the possible iterations, and sometimes it just keeps going through the whole tournament where comps don't become popular until the very end because it takes time to get to that point. So
Yeah.
we can't really like predict, I guess, like exactly how it's gonna go, but I think we can just get underway with like the best lessons we can take from the last stage, and continue working at figuring out what's the best strat for our team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the keyword is gonna be like the what works for our team as well. In that the the meta will always shift, but a lot of times it'll end up like compromises.
Yeah, I know that RPG 75 Bro was actually asking in chat, what do we think the meta will shift towards once about balance patches go through, and do we think that the meta will shift more towards a rush competition, after they said some frankly absurd BAP buffs.
I mean, this kind of things we can talk about because usually it's never right. Maybe BAP is OP, maybe it's BAP meta, or it could be Zen meta. Who knows?
Yeah, Bap and Zen both seem really strong. That's like initial impression, but
Huh.
yeah, like Chunk said, it's all nobody's like explored the game thoroughly enough to know
Yeah.
how it's gonna go. I do think there's certainly compared to last stage, Bap and Zen will be more playable. Like they were already used in some scenarios like last stage, so since they're just directly stronger than they were before, then it'll be stronger where you were playing it already, and maybe you'll play it more places. But it's the real question is sort of exactly how many maps do you play it on, like which scenarios, attack, defense, do you play it on, what heroes do you play with them in like the tank and the DPS roles. So there's a lot of question marks. So, but I do think it's definitely fair to say that those heroes are going to be stronger at this stage.
Absolutely. So, I know that we have a question from Kronk. So, with Pelican here on the broadcast, so do you think that we'll be seeing Dante move back on DPS so we can see the Pelican Dante duo this upcoming stage?
It's always a possibility. Dante can come. Dante is good DPS player. He can play DPS. Who knows? We don't know too. Like we literally don't know.
Yeah, at
Yeah.
this point we're trying like lots of different combinations of players and heroes, and like it's very where it's a very experimental stage. It's a bad idea to be like, like locking in your strategies on day one, even though we like have a match at the end of the week, have two matches, like we still will probably like since it's the first week of the patch, we'll probably like play for a few days before we have like a firm idea of who we're gonna use because until we know what strategy is the best, we can't know like who fits the strategy as far as like our roster.
So, Chills from the chat asks to Jake and Junk, are the Outlaws looking for a main tank player? I adore Dante and Piggy. However, it seems we need one. That's word for word.
I mean, we're always considering different options, not just the player wise, but in every aspect of the work, right? So who knows what's,
Uh,
but we're always considering it. It's just that, the entertain or this industry competitive, like you just can't you can't always get what you want, right? So like I don't want to name any players,
yeah.
but then if I were to make a comparison, let's say like League of Legends, oh I want a faker, but just because you want him, you can't get him, right? If faker was to be a free agent, so it's like that. There's like business involved, like cultural involved, like all these timings in terms of getting a player and things like that. So we're like always in the back of my mind. There's always gonna be different options we're considering, but yeah.
To echo that point too, we're always open to the opportunity, but like Junk mentioned, there's always a ton that goes into it just on the back end from business side, as well as just the logistics that go into it, and also the player pool in regards to that question. So going now to the main part of the fan Q&A, Marcus from the chat asked the Pelican, out of all the DPS players in the league, who would you say is your biggest rival this season?
그 리그의 딜러 중에서 자신의 라이벌이라고 생각되시는 선수.
라이벌?
So
That's
I'm
tough.
어, 캡슬?
Yeah.
Mm.
케빈.
아, 아니죠. 나 자신.
아, 그건 너무 오글거리는 거 아닙니까? 중이병이다, 중이병.
So Pelican said 캡슬, but I made a joke about it's supposed to be myself. Oh, no.
Oh man. Okay. So Crypto from the chat asked, with Jake retired now, who is most likely to death slam during slash after a match? Which Jake,
It's me.
dang man, I didn't know
Yeah,
you death
that's
slamming
junk.
man.
It's me.
It's junk now.
It was
but,
always junk actually.
but among the players, I would say Piggy Pelican maybe.
No, Lastro always does slam.
Oh, last row too.
I actually don't think Lastro slams in matches. Lastro just slams in scrims, like he's like sort of joking. So
It's
he's
jokingly.
that's the thing. He like doesn't like to make a joke. Like
All our players are super nice, so
yeah, our team isn't really like rage. So
I try to make them rage actually.
yeah, Junk wants them to rage more. It's a struggle.
Yeah. So Mr. Sir from the chat asked to Jake, what were you talking about when you told Custa in the bathroom, I'm assuming at the Kickoff Clash, that we had something new cooking? And don't say we had
Just
the Rock. Don't say that.
just new strategies and like stuff like that. I was just like making small talk with Custa, is a friend of mine. I don't know. It's not like there's some like epic
Yeah,
story here,
just
but
small talk.
yeah, he I think he mentioned something about the looking forward to the tournament or whatever, and I was like, yeah, it should be interesting, some new stuff cooking, like because at that time, like in like the days before the tournament, like a lot of teams were using new strategies and like uh yeah, like having success with it. So
Yeah.
it was like the meta was looking like kind of the meta like stabilized for the last few weeks of matches, and then for the playoff it like kind of became complex again. There was a lot of teams playing different stuff and different variations of old comps. So yeah, I was just sort of mentioning that to him as a friend, but yeah, like there's no like I don't know. I didn't even talk about any heroes or comps or anything like that.
So without going into much detail, this is a question more so towards the coaching staff. Without going in greater detail to give away trade secrets, Tell from the chat ask, what is it about Circuit Royale A/B that makes Sigma worth running when it's not run anywhere else? And if it is so good, then then why run different tanks on similarly flat/linear maps?
Actually, what was it? I think a lot of it has to do with it being a new map and the it's like and then it's also not as simple as like mapping a flat or not. It also has to do with structures and stuff. So if a team found a good way to use the structure so that they can play the Sigma, then the other teams will find a way to break it using the structures too. But then since it's a new map, there's probably not enough time to find the way to play around the Sigma comp. It was like a more straightforward comp to play around how the structure it is. Other maps, like people know how to like people know all the ins and outs of the map structures, how to utilize them so that the Sigma comp or something doesn't work. And so I think I think that it being a circular web being a new map also helps. And then the how the map is like structure is like it's so obvious to make Sigma work while the other maps are the people might have more experience on playing around it. Yeah.
I mean, I think the big difference too is that none of the other maps in the pool are both flat and linear. Like for instance, like Dorado and Gibraltar are very like linear maps, but they're like there's a lot of verticality. Like Dorado first point in the very start of Overwatch 2, people were using a lot of poke on like Dorado and Route 66. But then like Junk said, over time people figured out, oh, there's ways to like push the cart and then like play a more aggressive dive comps on those maps. And at that point, oh, then we stopped using Sigma because we can't deal with these rotations or whatever, and so nobody used it in a match. But we like there was like a time where people were trying to make it work, and then eventually, like Junk said, like the understanding the structure. I mean, I think Circuit is also like maybe next to like Havana and Rialto in terms of like how good it is for these poke comps. Whereas if Havana and Rialto were in Overwatch 2, I would imagine people would be playing poke on at least situationally on those maps as well.
So Nubitron Prime, going asking the real questions here, and this is a question for everybody on this panel right now. Have you guys tried the HEB Simple Southwest Chicken Ready to Bake meal? And if not, you should. They're so good. I will take that first part. I've actually have tried these. Like I actually have. They're really great in the sense of like just put them in the oven, cook them for 30 minutes, and you're done. You don't have to worry about it. And actually, I will have to say the Southwest chicken with the green beans and potatoes is actually pretty good. I just want to state that. So
I've had a lot of the microwave and oven cooked meals from HEB, and they're all pretty good in my experience. So it's nice,
We
convenient.
especially last year we had it like super often. Like at one point we almost had it like every day too during the off season. Um,
Yeah, I think I ate it. I ate it most days.
yeah.
Like,
So yeah, it's really good. I don't think we actually specifically tried the bake one version. We always did the one that's like
mm,
already prepped and then we just microwave it and then done. But yeah,
yeah.
they're really good actually. I like them.
And then Wicked Turtle asking this question, so I would like Pelican to answer this one too. What's the atmosphere like riding on the team bus to a live event? Is it rowdy? Is it quiet? And more so this team bus in regards to riding to and from Kickoff Clash, not from BFT.
그 펠리칸 선수도 답해주면 좋을 것 같은데 저희 그 대회장 갈 때 버스 분위기 어떤가요?
음, 나머지는 다 괜찮은데
네.
노래도 못 부르던 피기가 그렇게 그냥 노래를 불러대니 다른 사람들은 분위기 괜찮은데 지 혼자 신나가지고 그냥
So Pelican says everything is so good. It's that person who can't sing at all is too loud singing, and that's Piggy.
Wow,
Yeah.
throwing shots. What about from your
we'll have
guys'
we'll have
perspective?
Piggy on next time. We can give his perspective.
Yeah, that'd be phenomenal. Um, So going into some extra, so with Pelican, who is your favorite hero in Overwatch right now?
오버워치에서 제일 좋아하는 영웅
쫄죠.
솔저.
Oh, very hipster. You mean
야야야.
after the patch?
뭐래요?
해치고 솔저도 좋냐?
원에는 안 되지 않았나?
어떤가요?
아,
네.
투에서는 트레이서 재밌어. 응.
어, Tracer's fun, he says.
Tracer's fun, and then Soldier before the patch. Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe nobody plays Diva anymore, so you can actually stick your pulse bombs.
Maybe in
see.
general thing, yeah.
So, Vasto Lord from the chat asked, and I'm gonna kind of expand upon this question. Why is Pelican so handsome and Piggy so cute?
야,
Pelican, you can say.
Yeah,
I don't know.
just happens,
I don't
right?
know.
It's just
That's a
natural.
cute guy, handsome guy.
Piggy cute too? Pelican?
비기는 비기, 야, 큐트.
Oh.
비기 큐트.
Just supernatural. Um, so Angie asked to Jake, is it a different feeling to hear the crowd screaming from backstage versus on stage, or do you still get excited knowing they're cheering for you and the team?
Oh yeah, it's definitely different because when you're a player, it's like you're not thinking about the fact like the crowd or whatever. You're just kind of like feeling it because you're like really focused on the game. So the maybe if you notice it, it's almost like a surprise. But then as a coach, it's like I don't really see it as them cheering for us. I see it as like they're cheering for the players, and like it's our job to like help the players do well to like get them to that point where the fans are super happy and excited for the players. But in the end, like that's what the fans are there for, right? Is the excitement about the players on the stage. So I think yeah, it's very different. I don't know. It's coaching in general is very different than playing.
So, final question before we head into talking about our upcoming Stage 2 matches versus Washington and Vancouver. Mindless Pandas asks, and I'm gonna kind of tailor this question because we don't have everybody here. So, Pelican, what do you do before a match to get in the right mindset? Whether it be listening to music, stretching, or even just drinking tea. That's the first part of the question. Then the second part is going to be towards the coaches of what do you guys do to get you guys into the right mindset and also try and get the players into the right mindset.
펠리칸 선수는 경기 전에 멘탈적으로 준비를 어떻게 하시나요?
저요? 저는 그런 거 딱히 없어요. 마인드셋 그런 거 없고 그냥 혼자 긴장하고 있습니다. 아무것도 안 하고.
Okay. Pelican says he doesn't really do anything special. It's just it's just being just being ready, being tensed up, ready to go.
Just always being
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah.
Cool. And
And
then
from my perspective, I don't do anything to get ready. I don't have to do anything. Match day is like the day me and Junk sit there and rub our hands together. We know, all we could do is like during the match we can give feedback like between the maps and then we'll talk about like whether like subs or strategy changes, things like that. But
Yeah. If
match day is
we're
actually like the easiest, or not easiest day. It's like the day that we have the least impact is the match day compared to the practice days.
like since we're not the ones playing, we don't have to like clear our heads. I guess it was more like we don't want our heads to be clear. Like players can be like mentally prepared, but like I'll be like just constantly thinking about like
Yeah. Is there anything we
did we
didn't
miss
think about?
anything?
What if this happens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in this scenario, did we went over that? We over that. We over that. It's like yeah.
sounds good. So now that we're done taking questions from the fans, so final question of the night, and then we'll let everybody go. So, how are we feeling going into next weekend's matches against the Washington Justice on Saturday and Vancouver Titans on Sunday?
Um, since we just started practicing scrims, we'll probably won't know how confident we'll be going in, but then we'll see. We'll prepare just like any other match, and hopefully we do good.
Prepare like any other match, and when the time comes, it's game day and match time at 2 p.m. CT, June 18th versus Washington, and June 19th, 6:30 p.m. CT. Um, appreciate you guys for coming on. Appreciate all the fans for being here in the After the Match Discord channel presented by HEB. We will be continuing these every single week, every single match weekend. But be sure to tune in this next Saturday, June 18th at 2 p.m. CT as we go against the Washington Justice, and be sure to tune in Sunday, June 19th at 6:30 p.m. CT as our match against Vancouver Titans. But all in all, you can go watch the matches at youtube.com/Overwatch League, and be sure to like, subscribe to the Outlaws, and be sure to follow HB. Thank you guys for joining Jake, Junk, and Pelican, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye
See you guys.
bye.